Welcome to the Life Editor Weekend Virtual Retreat. I am so happy that you're joining me today. All right, so this is our virtual retreat where we are going to be dreaming and scheming. We are going to end your procrastination. We are going to talk about money mindsets. We're going to talk about business best practices, and I'm going to share all of my best coaching strategies that I've learned over the past 10 years as a life coach. So I'm so pleased that you're here. So let me introduce myself. I am Sage Grayson, and I am a former book editor turned life coach. I help ambitious women edit their habits, routines, and mindsets to balance their happiness at work and home. I'm a life editor, and so are you. All right, for those of you who are joining us right now, make sure you click the link in the description to download your Life Editor Weekend Virtual Retreat workbook. We are going to be using this workbook across the 7 sessions of this retreat. And I want to make sure that you're taking notes and staying on top of the edits that you want to make, because we are going to be using this workbook when we get to the last session today. All right, so this is session 2. We are moving right along, and this is your crash course for my framework, the life editing process. So now we are on step 2, delete bad influences. So we're going to talk about cleaning up your life. We're also going to talk about step 3, which is add good habits. And that's the step that everyone can't wait for, because we're finally going to be acting like our ideal selves. Now, before we get started, I just want to remind you that every single session of the Life Editor Weekend Retreat has a giveaway. So for each session, I'm going to give away one of my digital products, and you can enter simply by leaving a comment below the video, either on Facebook or on YouTube. Either way counts. And for this session, I'm giving away a copy of my Startup in 60 program. So Startup in 60 is a time management course for busy women who are ready to finally start their own businesses. But here's the deal. You're going to do it over 60 days. And every single day of the program, you're going to choose to either do 60 minutes of work or 60 seconds of work. Oh yeah, Startup in 60 is one of my favorite programs that I've ever created, because I made it because I was hearing too many of my clients say, I just don't have time to start a business. And I was sick of it. You know, life editors, I don't put up with excuses. So I designed this program to show you how you could go from idea to fully functioning business in just 60 days while doing only 60 seconds of work per day. I know it sounds unbelievable, but it's true. So I'm giving away a copy of my Startup in 60 program. So if you are interested in starting a business, or you've been delaying starting your business, be sure to leave a comment under this video, either on Facebook or on YouTube, to enter this session's giveaway. Now remember, if you're watching this replay, you've got all weekend long to leave your comments. So you can leave a comment all the way through Sunday, June 13th, 2021. And then I will pick the winners on Monday. So be sure to leave a comment to enter the giveaway. And then finally, at the very end of this session, I'm going to show you how you can apply for my Life Editor Academy Mastermind. But if you can't wait, there is a link in the description for this video where you can click and get all the details about the Academy Mastermind group. All right, we are going to talk about step 2 of the life editing process. You ready? Let's go. All right, step 2 is delete bad influences. And this is exactly what people think of when they think of an editor, like a book editor, like I used to be. Like, I got my red pen and I'm going to cross off everything, like this is bad and this is bad. And that's kind of what we're doing now. We are going to look objectively at your life, at your business, at any area, and we're going to delete those things that are bad influences. So there are things in your life that are kind of junking it up. Now, I remember back in my editing days, when I would get a manuscript, there would just be things in the book manuscript that made no sense. There were these ideas that went nowhere. There was poor grammar. There was misspellings. There were like pictures and things that didn't make sense with the text. It was just a big jumble. And I'm like, there's a lot of bad stuff in this. So it was my job to find the stuff that didn't belong there and get rid of it. We had to get rid of a lot of stuff to clean up some of the books. So it's the same for your life. There are going to be situations, people, circumstances, habits, things in your life that are not adding value to your life. They're not making a better story for your life. They're actually damaging you in some way. So I want you to get out your journal, or you could just use the back of your workbook, whatever works for you. And we're going to do a little journaling. I'm going to give you some prompts to answer so we can figure out exactly where these bad influences are hiding in your life, because bad influences are kind of tricky. Sometimes you're going to know, like, whoa, that person is bad news. You're going to see that bad influence right in front of you. Or you're going to eat something and it's just going to make you feel so sick and gross. You're like, ugh, I should not eat like a huge extra large pizza anymore, or whatever it is. Like, you're going to be able to find those bad influences. But some bad influences are really sneaky. Here's a way to think about it. Remember when you're driving on the highway? I don't know why I'm doing this, but here's Sage driving on the highway. Okay, so you're driving on the highway, and if you haven't driven this highway before, you're going to see all of these billboards. And there's going to be billboards for ads, for things, for clothes, for food, for entertainment, for movies, for whatever. You're going to see all these billboards as you're driving. When you're driving, they're really distracting because they're really big and they're really in your face. But let's say you drive that highway every single day for a few months. After a while, you're not going to even see those billboards anymore. They're just going to fade into the background. So even though they're big and loud and obnoxious and they're trying to be in your face, they're just fading into the hum of the background as you're driving on the highway. Leave a comment and let me know. Have you ever experienced that, where you used to see something bright and lifelike in front of you, and then all of a sudden, after a while, it just becomes a part of your life? So bad influences are like that too. You could be suffering from a bad influence for so long that you don't even notice it anymore. That this bad part of your life is just your life now. I know this happens to a lot of people who get into abusive relationships. It's just background noise. It's just, this is my life now. And you can't even imagine it being different because it's so ingrained in you. We're gonna pull back the curtain and we're going to find these bad influences today. Okay, so in your, Pam says, definitely. Yeah, I think a lot of us, we have these things that are in our lives, or it just becomes like background noise. I remember before I moved to this house, I lived in a neighborhood that was so noisy all the time. The apartments were really, really close together. All of the buildings were under construction, and it was just near a noisy street where there would be like ambulance noises and cop noises and like traffic all the time. And it really, really irritated me for a while. But then after a while, it just became this noise of nonsense, like all the time. And it wasn't that I forgot about it. I just got used to being unhappy. I got used to not getting any sleep. I got used to being waken up in the night. I got used to every time I recorded a video, there would be a jackhammer noise. So I didn't really notice how bad it was until I moved here. In this neighborhood, is so quiet and beautiful. I can hear the birds chirping. I love this new neighborhood. But I noticed I'm getting better sleep. I'm happier. I'm able to do more of my business work because that bad influence before just permeated every part of my life. And now it's gone. And you don't really realize how bad and how destructive they are until you make the effort to clean it up. All right, so let's talk about these bad influences. So in your journal, I want you to write. Make a list of the things that drain your energy. What things drain your energy? Like if you're a battery, you're filled at the top at the start of the day, and then you slowly feel your battery going down by the end of the day. What things drain your energy? And maybe it's a job. Maybe you have a really soul-sucking job that you get there in the morning and you're like, okay, today is going to be different. I'm going to have a happy, nice, productive day. And then after dealing with nonsense at work all day long, by like 4 or 5 o'clock when you're leaving, you're just like, I'm dead. I'm just dead. I have no energy. I'm just going to throw myself on the couch, watch reruns, eat a cake, and then go to sleep. Like, yeah, I think we've all been there at some point in our lives. So what things drain your energy? Where like after dealing with whatever it is, it could be a situation, a person, some kind of habit, you just feel like so depleted. Like, wow. Maybe it's one friend that just talks and talks and talks and talks and talks, and it's all about them all the time, and you can't even get a word in. And then after you've been around them, you're like, whoa, I'm so depleted. Okay, so that's the first thing I want you to list down for bad influences, things that drain your energy. Next, things that frustrate you. Like, oh, why is it this way? So maybe it's some kind of rule that you have to follow, or you have to do X, Y, and Z for your job, and it just doesn't make sense anymore. But that's the way it's always been. Or maybe there's some kind of frustration or injustice, like you're not getting paid your worth, and you can't figure out how to get a raise or how to get paid what you need. Or maybe there's something else that's frustrating you. Like for me, when in that old neighborhood, it was so loud and noisy all the time, I could barely hear myself think. Maybe you have a car that is just a junker and you can't afford to buy a new car right now. It's just bad timing, but you never know, is the car going to turn on when you need it to turn on? Or are you going to be stranded somewhere? Just things that are like really, really frustrating. I like to think of these frustrations as like pens, where you grab a pen and you're like, I'm going to take a note, and there's no ink at the pen, and you're like scraping it across the page and you're not getting what you need. That's exactly what it feels like to have something frustrating in your life. Leave a comment and let me know what's frustrating you. All right, next thing that I want you to write down are things that make your life difficult. Things that it's like their job to make things a little worse for you. So this might be a coworker who undermines your work or takes credit for your work or badmouths you to people. Or maybe there's something in your house that's just making it very difficult. Maybe you have like an air conditioner that's 1,000,000 years old and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, or it only cools off one area of your house and the rest of the house is boiling hot. Maybe there's just something that makes it very difficult for you to exist, for you to be happy. There's something that's making it difficult. Like we all have been dealing with the pandemic. I got to tell you, that's made a lot of things very difficult for me and a lot of my clients. So write that down, things that make your life difficult. Ooh, this is a good one. Next, write down things that make you feel bad about yourself. Makes you feel bad about yourself. Like maybe it's grandma who is always mentioning your weight, like, you look like you put a little weight on there. Or maybe it's some kind of food that you eat that makes you feel really like bloated and gross, and you're like, oh, why did I eat that? Maybe you have some kind of intolerance for food. I know this happens to a lot of people who are lactose intolerant who still want to eat ice cream, and maybe they want the real stuff, but you always end up paying for it later. So maybe there's something else that makes you feel bad about yourself. Like maybe you drank a little too much wine and that didn't make you feel good. Or maybe you had a headache the next day. Or maybe you have a tendency to hit the snooze alarm every morning, like hit that snooze alarm, go back to sleep, hit that snooze alarm. And then it makes you feel really bad and foggy all day. And you know you shouldn't do it, but you do it anyway. So list that, things that make you feel bad about yourself. Next one, things that make you feel like your worst self. Now, this is a little different than making you feel bad about yourself. So there might be someone who's judging you, or things that you do that make you just feel bad or sad or bloated or foggy, or like you're procrastinating or something. But things that make you turn into the worst version of yourself. So maybe you have a job that puts you on edge and you are so frustrated with the job that you go home and you just snap at everyone. You yell at your spouse, you yell at your kids. You are just the worst version of yourself. You're a monster when you're dealing with that. Or maybe there is a friend who is always trying to get you to do things that you're not really comfortable with. I'll tell you a story. I had a friend in high school and college who every time I hung out with her, she made me feel like the worst version of myself. Like she was always gossiping. She was always saying bad things about other people. And I know she was talking bad stuff about me when I wasn't around. And she would always try to pressure me to do things that I didn't want to do, or to yell at people when I could have just walked away. Or she would pressure me to spend a lot of money, or to drive hours and hours driving her around different places. And it was just so frustrating because I felt like when I was with her, I turned into this caricature. I turned into this different Sage, and it wasn't who I wanted to be. And after I hung out with her, I'm like, why did I do that? Why did I do those things? Why did I say those things? Like, I don't want to be that type of person. And that's when I finally cut off the friendship, because I was the worst version of myself when I was around her. Leave a comment and let me know. What turns you into the worst version of yourself when you're either making bad choices or you're acting in a way that's not in alignment with who you are, like snapping at your kids or just being a real jerk to people? Let me know in the comments. Okay, we're almost there. The last thing I want you to write down for your bad influences: things in your life that you wish would just disappear. Like, oh my gosh, if that thing would just disappear, everything would be perfect. If that neighbor who's always yelling at me and my dog would just disappear, that would be wonderful. If this health problem would disappear, my life would be perfect. If this debt would just disappear. Yeah. Anything in your life where you start having this magical thinking, like, if I could just take a magic wand and change everything, that's a really good indicator that the thing that you're making disappear is a bad influence. It is negatively affecting you. All right, so let's recap really quickly. In your journal, we're going to write down these bad influences: things that drain your energy, things that frustrate you, things that make your life difficult, things that make you feel bad about yourself, things that make you turn into the worst version of yourself, and things that you wish would just disappear. All right, let me take some tea. I'm drinking lemon tea all day because I've got 7 hours of talking here. I gotta protect my voice, you know. All right, so you don't know this. Well, maybe some of you do if you've been a life editor for long enough. But that list of bad influences, you just made your not to-do list. And a not to-do list is exactly what it sounds like. A to-do list is things that you want to do that take you closer to your goals. A not to-do list is things you do not want to do because they hold you back and they keep you from reaching your goals. Sarah says, all the bills could disappear. Who needs electricity anyway? No. Let's go live in the woods. I mean, I look like a fairy that lives in the woods today. a little bit. But I hear you. We got a lot of bills to pay. Couldn't they just disappear? Or I know you business owners get this, that we feel like we are nickeled and dimed all the time. Like, we got to pay for this CRM. We got to pay for this streaming service. We got to pay for this photographer. We got to pay for a web person. We got to pay for ads on Facebook. Like, a lot of times I feel like I have 100 different bills to pay and they're all for one thing, for my business. So yeah, I totally get that. A lot of times there's ways to consolidate bills for like businesses or to buy a system that has everything included. But I got to tell you, for like home or keeping your house running, there's probably a lot of different bills you're paying. Yeah. All right. So your not to-do list, you just wrote your not to-do list. All of these things are things that you should stop doing or create some kind of barrier between you and them if you want to edit your life and stay happier and healthier too. So a not to-do list are things that you are resolving not to do. Okay. I want to take a quick detour to answer a question that I got sent in advance. Thank you so much to all of you who did reply to my emails and send me some questions in advance, because I got a really great one for Virginia, which fits along with deleting bad influences. So thanks for sending this in, Virginia. Okay, she says, I get lost in social media and I easily waste hours every week. Anyone else? Anyone else right there? Maybe. What's a tool that could help me limit how much time I am on social media every day? Awesome. Okay. So Virginia, this is really, really common. I think a lot of us do get lost on social media every day. As I say, as I'm leading a retreat on 2 social media platforms right now. So I get it. It could be you pick up your phone just anytime there's a pause in your day and you're just scrolling, or you're procrastinating before you start your day and you're watching a bunch of YouTube videos or you're looking through Facebook or whatever it is. You're just wasting a lot of time on social media. Now, social media has its place. It's nice to keep in touch with people that you want to keep in touch with. I use social media as a marketing means for my business. And social media is just a way, again, to be social, to connect with people, to connect with the world. And I think social media has been a lifesaver for a lot of us the past 1.5 years during the pandemic. Social media can also be a problem when it's interfering with your life. when you have goals and projects and things you want to do, but you're wasting too much time on social media. Or you're trying to be healthier and happier and more optimistic, but you keep falling down the rabbit hole of social media and kind of getting caught up in all this negativity. It's really, really pervasive. And I've got a few different ways. Actually, I've got 3 ways that you can limit your time on social media. So first of all is one of my go-to strategies, and that is to use a timer. So right now you're using social media as a distraction. You're kind of just numbing yourself with it. And we're going to talk about self-numbing in another session. But there's no real purpose to your social media. I want you to treat social media just like any other appointment or any other thing that you have to do during the day. So set a timer for a realistic amount of time on social media. So maybe you'll set a timer in the morning for 15 minutes of social media. And you could scroll through Instagram or Facebook or play on TikTok or do whatever you want for 15 minutes. And when that timer goes off, you turn off the social media and you get to work, whatever your work is, taking care of the kids, going to school, going to your job, working on your business, whatever it is. Set a timer and stick to it. The thing about using a timer is we're not going to villainize social media. We're not going to say that social media is so bad and you should never, ever have social media again. We're giving you permission to enjoy social media. So when you give it its own time slot, you give it its own little happy place to exist, you're treating it more as a reward, as a treat for yourself. And you're going to enjoy it more, knowing that you've only got how much time makes sense to you. 15 minutes is probably a good place to start. So in those 15 minutes, are you going to, I don't know, waste time reading about people in the news that you don't care about? Are you going to go on the platforms that don't mean as much to you? No, probably in those 15 minutes, you're going to be more focused. You're going to be like, ooh, I want to see so-and-so's new outfit, or I want to see so-and-so's baby pictures, or I want to watch a cat video, whatever it is. You're going to focus on exactly what you need to get out of social media, the good stuff that you do get out of social media, instead of focusing on all that stuff that drains your energy. I think a lot of us, let me know in the comments if this is true for you, we just keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling because we hope we're going to get something out of it. We hope it's going to make us a little happier. We hope we're going to learn some new tricks. I can't talk. We hope we're going to learn some new tips and tricks. We hope that somebody's going to inspire us to do something or buy something, and we're looking for that stuff. But to find that uplifting stuff on social media, I got to tell you, you got to wade through a lot of bad influences just to get it. So better yet, stick to a timer, set a time that makes sense for you, and focus in just on that good stuff. And if it's not the good stuff, get rid of it, move past it quickly, and don't waste your precious time on anything that is not lifting you up. So that's number 1 tip. Set a timer for no guilt social media time. Give yourself permission to have it and stick to that time. And after that timer goes off, go about your productive work. Number 2 is to use social media as a treat at the end of the day. Now, many of you who have joined the Clubhouse, you know about the great class, which is one of the most popular classes. It continues to be super popular, which is Fuel Your Success with Treats and Rewards. And I talk about how to set up a treats and rewards schedule. We're going to talk about that in another session during this retreat. And basically, a treat is something nice that you give yourself every single day simply for being you. Like, you don't have to earn a treat. It's just a nice thing to have to keep you motivated. So why not use social media as a treat? How about have it as a beautiful treat at the end of your day, so you know, ooh, I can watch YouTube for as long as I want after my workday, and give yourself permission to do that. Or I can scroll through Facebook as much as I want, but let me finish this thing first. So use it as a treat, as something to look forward to, rather than something you just give yourself anytime at all. Has this ever happened to you where you have something that you really like and you like it so much, so you end up doing it all the time? Like maybe it's eating chocolate. Like for a kid, like, oh, I like chocolate. I like these candy bars. And then you end up having chocolate in the morning and then in lunchtime and at dinner and before bed. And if you have chocolate or it's something that you love all the time, eventually it loses its luster and it's not so good anymore. And you're like, this just isn't giving me that good feeling anymore. So it's the same for social media. If you look at social media 10 times a day, 15 times a day, anytime there's a break, anytime you're heating up your coffee, anytime you're waiting in line at the grocery store, anytime you're just hanging out on the couch, like it's going to lose its value. I want you to treat social media as a treat. Make it special. So save it for the end of the day. So get up, do whatever work it is that you have to do during the day, and then enjoy it as a nice treat at the end of the day. Treat it with respect. Give it its own place and time, and you'll enjoy it a lot more. It won't feel like that doom scrolling that brings you down. So that's number 2, is make it a treat. And the final tip that I have for regulating your social media is to use an app that can either block social media sites or put a timer on your social media content. So like maybe you only have 30 minutes a day that you can be on Facebook, like throughout the day. I recommend Rescue Time, which can help you block certain websites so you can't access them. So let's say you have like a deadline or a launch or something big going on, a report you got to do for work. Go into Rescue Time and put the websites that usually drain your energy and eat up your time, like Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, whatever it is. For me, it's YouTube. I love YouTube. And put it in there so then it is blocked. So it's kind of like social media has taken a vacation and you can just focus on the work that's important to you. So that kind of takes the responsibility off of you and puts it on an app. Like let the app be the bad guy, let Rescue Time be the bad guy, so you can just work. So if that's you, if you have trouble like regulating yourself, then don't make yourself be in charge. Make an app be in charge. That's what they're there for. It's kind of the same reason that people hire coaches is if you're not making progress, if you're not getting stuff done, hire a coach to be the bad guy. All right. So just recapping ways that you can stop scrolling for hours and wasting time. Use a timer. Treat social media as a treat, and use an app like Rescue Time to block those social media accounts. Okay, so now let's talk about how you can delete these bad influences. And here's the thing. When you're dealing with bad influences, you have 2 choices. You can either delete the bad influence, like quit the job or end the friendship or stop eating that food or whatever it is. Or if you can't delete it, you can create a boundary around it. Now, a boundary is any way that you can protect your time, your energy, your money, or your mental health. So creating a boundary actually lets you have a lot of freedom. Now, I've used this metaphor before, but it works so well. So I have a dog. Her name is Skyla, and she's 10 years old, and she's a boxer pit bull. And I like to take her to the dog park. Now, the thing about a dog park is there is a nice big fence around it, and it's just for doggies to be off leash and run around and have a lot of fun. She can go anywhere she wants within the fence of the dog park. Now, if I let Skyla out in my neighborhood, like on my street, yeah, she could run around anywhere she wants, but she's also at risk of being hit by a car or being dog napped or, I don't know, digging up someone's flower bed because there's no boundaries. She can go anywhere she wants. So it's the same in your life. If you have so much freedom, then that means other things can get to you at any time. There's no way to protect yourself when you're open all the time. But with a boundary, like the fence on a dog park, you can have that freedom. Sounds weird, but boundaries give you freedom. So let's talk about things that you might want to put a boundary around. So let's say you have a job that's annoying you. You can put a boundary around it by not doing any overtime and making sure that like during your lunch break, you get away from the office so you can regroup and refresh yourself. Let's say you have someone in your life, like a mother-in-law, that's really annoying to you and drains your energy every time you're around her. Put a boundary around your time with her. Maybe you'll only see her outside of your house, like at a public place or at somebody else's party. Or maybe you'll only see her 1 Saturday a month, and that's it. Or maybe you can have some kind of boundary with your friends that if your friends keep asking for money, maybe you'll set up a boundary that you just won't lend money to friends. I think that's a really good boundary to have. So you can still have your friendship, but there's a boundary. You're not going to lend them money. One of the boundaries I have in my life is that I don't go out on Sunday night. Not that this has been an issue during the pandemic, but I like to be home Sunday night so I can go through my planner, so I can relax and drink some tea, and so I can be with my dog, and so I can get really good sleep. So I'm set and ready to go Monday morning. So don't ask me to go out on Sunday night because it's not happening. All right. So leave a comment and let me know if you have any ideas for where you can delete something, delete a bad influence completely in your life, or where you're going to set a boundary. And I've got some examples for you as well. Again, we went through this. You can stop hanging out with bad friends. You could clean your home from top to bottom and get rid of anything that doesn't support you. I know a bunch of you have read the famously popular book, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up, which talks about getting rid of things that don't spark joy. So that's a great place to start. You could quit your terrible job, if that's an option for you, and you could either apply to and get a new job, or you can start your own business. And just a reminder that my Startup in 60 program is the giveaway prize for this session. So be sure to leave a comment to enter the giveaway for this session, either on Facebook or on YouTube. You could put limits on when you'll be around certain people, and you could throw out any junk food that's in your house. Or a way to put a boundary on junk food is maybe you'll only eat that food away from your house. Like you'll only have ice cream at a party or at a restaurant, but you won't have it in your house. All right, so I want you to open your workbook. I hope you all have downloaded your Life Editor Weekend workbook. There is a link in the description to download your workbook. And in this box, we have a box for delete bad influences. So delete bad influences edits. And I want you to write down 5 ways you are going to either delete a bad influence or create a boundary around it in your life. And some of these things might be a little difficult and they might push you outside of your comfort zone. Maybe you really do need to reevaluate your relationship, or maybe you need to take a look at that friend that's not really a friend, or maybe you have a business and certain parts of your business, certain products just aren't selling and it costs too much to keep this part of your business running and you need to delete that part. So be sure to fill out your 5 deleting edits in your workbook and then leave a comment below and let me know what types of things you are deleting. All right, let me have some tea and then we're going to move on to step 3. All right, here we are. Step 3 of the life editing process is add good habits. This is the process. This is the part of the process that everyone wants to jump to. They're like, I want to add good habits. I want to do the things that I haven't been doing. And this is where you find people who do New Year's resolutions. And they just choose a new habit that they want to do. Like, I'm going to run a mile every morning, or I'm going to start a business, or I'm going to, whatever it is, clean my house every week, or I'm going to meditate every day, whatever it is. You pick some new habit that you want to create and you just jump to it without doing any of the work ahead of time. So here's the thing. There is a reason we edit your life in this order. For those New Year's resolution people who start a new habit, but then they give it up by February, there's a reason they give it up by February, because they haven't created a strong foundation to support them when things go wrong, and they haven't deleted those bad influences that made it impossible for them to start the habit before. I don't know why you think you're going to start some kind of healthy habit now when you weren't able to do it before because of all these other bad influences. So when you take the time to build up your foundation and delete those bad influences, then you're going to have the time, the space, the energy, the mental clarity to finally add those good habits and make them stick. If you want these new good habits to stick, you got to do the life editing in order. So here's another way to think about it. I have a few clients who are artists. So let me use an art analogy. If you want to make a beautiful painting, you can't paint on a dirty canvas. So if you have a canvas that's got dust and dirt on it, it's all scratched up, you don't want to just slap your paint on it because your finished picture will look all muddled because you didn't clean your canvas first. So think about that as you're editing your life. You have to have a strong foundation. You got to delete those bad influences first before you add the good habits. All right? Can't paint on a dirty canvas. All right, let's do some journaling. So bring out your journals. or use a sheet in your workbook, and let's talk about your ideal self, because that's really why we're adding these good habits. We have this ideal version of ourselves that we want to step into, but we haven't been able to do it yet. So let's get a really clear picture of who that person is, so that as we're making changes, as we're making edits, we can inch forward towards that ideal self. So write in your journal or leave a comment here underneath the video, thinking about your ideal self, that ideal version of you. What are you doing? I don't know. And that can be any area of your life. What are you doing as a career? What are you doing for fun? What are you doing day to day? Like, what do your days look like? What are you actually doing every day? Maybe you have a business or you're starting a business. Maybe you're in a completely different career. Maybe you're volunteering all day. Maybe you're staying home with your kids. I don't know. What are you actually doing day to day if you were living your ideal life? Next, where are you? And this could be a shock to some people because you might think, oh, I don't actually want to be living where I'm living. I don't know. Maybe you do need to move somewhere else. Maybe you need to move closer to your family or farther away from your family. Maybe you need to move to a new neighborhood like I did last year. Or maybe your house or your apartment or wherever, it's just not big enough for you and your family. So think about that. Where are you actually? Also in regards to where are you doing your work? Are you working in a corporate office or are you working remotely? Next, who's with you? And this is really telling. In your ideal life, in this ideal version of your life, some of the people that you deal with now might not be in it. And that can be really hard to accept. But if you're honest with yourself, maybe your relationship isn't who you want to be with in the future, in your ideal life. Maybe you don't have a boss and you're your own boss. Or maybe there's someone in your life that you just don't think that they're a good influence on you and they really shouldn't be in your life. So think about that. Who is actually with you? And also on the flip side, maybe there's someone that you do want to be with you. Maybe there's a friend that you kind of let fall to the wayside, but you want to rekindle that friendship. Or maybe you want a romantic relationship and you want to put yourself out there and meet someone. Maybe you want to adopt a pet, which I definitely recommend. Maybe you do want someone that you can walk every day and play with and cuddle on the couch with. So think about that. Who is with you in your ideal life? Next one, this is great. How do you feel in your ideal life? We've talked about this before, about tapping into those feelings and incorporating those into the things that you're doing every life. So maybe you want to feel freedom. You just want to have this freedom where you can do whatever it is that you want. So maybe ways that you can have freedom in your life are paying off your debts, or maybe raising your prices in your business so you can have some more financial freedom so you don't feel stressed and strained all the time. Maybe you want to feel happier. And maybe that means spending more time on your hobbies, or reading more, or meditating, or doing affirmations, or being around people who make you laugh. So write that down. How do you want to feel in your ideal life? And the last thing, as you're thinking about your ideal life, what do you have in your ideal life that is missing currently? So what do you have in your ideal life that you don't have right now in your current life? What was missing that you now have as your ideal self? I don't know. Is it a house? Might be. Maybe it's a sports car. I don't know. Maybe it's something different. Maybe it's friends and family. Maybe it's a job that you can't wait to start every single morning. You just jump out of bed so excited. Maybe you have health in a different way than what you have health right now. Maybe you're spending time on things that you never gave yourself a chance to do now. So write that down. What's missing that you have in your ideal life? Okay, so journaling, let's recap real quick. And again, if you're watching the replay, go ahead and pause it and go through these at your own pace. So in your ideal life, as your ideal self, what are you doing? Where are you? Who's with you? How do you feel? And what do you have in your ideal life that is missing right now? So that'll give you a really good insight into the type of habits that you can create to get closer to that ideal version of yourself, the types of goals that will get you closer to that vision you have. So I've got a few examples of habits that you might want to add into your life. You could choose a word for your year. How many of you have done word of your year before? Leave a comment and let me know if you've done word of your year and if you have a word for 2021. So a word of the year is where you choose a word to guide every decision that you make over the course of a year. You could also do a word of the month or a word for your next 12 weeks, which we'll get to. Or you could do a word for whatever project you're starting. So for me, my word for 2021 is better. And I did a whole video on it in YouTube. So go to my YouTube channel and you can watch that. But my word better is a great guiding force for me this year because it's not making 100 different habits. Whenever I have a decision, I just think about how can I do it better than maybe I did before. So I didn't have any retreats last year, virtual or otherwise, but this year I am doing retreats, and having a retreat, even if it's virtual like this one, is better than not having any retreats. Or think about your health. Maybe you don't need to join a gym or spend a lot of money on fancy diet programs or whatever, but is there one thing that you could do a little bit better? So that works if your word is better. If your word is, say, family, how can the word family influence your decisions as you go through the year? Maybe you stop doing overtime at work so you have more time with your family, or maybe you plan family vacations, something like that. So leave a comment and let me know, have you chosen a word for the year that helps you answer any kind of decision that you have? So Pam says, yep, done a word of the year. I think doing a word of the year is great, and you don't have to do it just in January. You can do it for your 12-week plan. You can do it at the start of every month. You can do it when you're starting a new project or whenever you feel like, I'm just kind of floundering here. I need one single word to guide me. It's a really great exercise. All right, next, you can use the habit loop. So let's say you have a bad habit right now that you want to change. Well, the habit loop comes from the book, The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. And in the habit loop, there's a cue, there's a routine, and there's a reward. So the cue is whatever tells your brain, ding, it's time to do the habit. The routine is the habit itself. And the reward is that good feeling you get that tells your brain, we're going to do this thing again next time. So if you have a bad habit, I'll use the example of drinking too much. Let's say you drink too much and it doesn't make you feel good or whatever. It affects your life. So the cue might be feeling sad and alone. The routine might be drinking to excess. And the reward is you don't feel sad and alone anymore. So if that's a bad habit loop you got, you can change that habit loop by simply swapping out the routine. So let's say you still feel sad and lonely, and your brain's like, we got to do something about this. Instead of drinking to excess, you could call your sponsor, or you could call a friend, or you could go to the movies with friends, or you could get on social media and laugh at cat videos or something. You could do something else that connects you with other people instead of drowning your sorrows. And then the reward is still the same. You don't feel sad and lonely anymore. So let me know if you've ever used the habit loop and swapped out the routine of a bad habit and put something good in its place. All right, next you could try mini habits. And these go by many, many different names. You could call them mini habits, atomic habits. I call them tiny edits, but they're all the same thing. And what you do is that you choose a change, some kind of positive change that is too small to fail. So think of something that's so small, there's no resistance to doing it. So maybe you can't spend an hour at the gym, but can you do 10 jumping jacks? Yeah, you can do that every single day. That takes almost no effort and there's no resistance to doing it. So maybe you can't save $1 million, but could you make sure you don't eat out this week? Or could you save $1 a day? Yeah. So think about making these changes that are teeny, teeny, tiny, so there's no resistance and it's too small to fail. With these mini habits, they build over time. So you don't have to make these grand sweeping changes. Again, that is not what life editing is about. We don't make big changes. We just make tiny edits. And these tiny edits build on each other so that at the end, you get a great big result. Let me know if any of you have tried mini habits, atomic habits, tiny edits, whatever you want to call it, and did those tiny little things that you do build up to something really, really grand. All right, my next example for a new habit you might want to try. I'm not judging you, but get dressed every day, whatever fully dressed means to you. For some of you, that just might mean putting on jeans and a t-shirt, or it might be washing your hair or putting on some makeup or whatever it is, whatever dressed is for you, but get dressed every single day. And I know during the past year and a half, it's been really easy just to stay in pajamas all day or stay in lounge clothes all day. But when you get dressed up, you're showing that you care about yourself and you care enough about yourself to feel good about how you look. And I've noticed that people who dress up every day, and that's not like putting on a ball gown or whatever, or work clothes, it's just dressing up, whatever fully dressed means to you. It makes it easier for you to run errands, or if I have a call that's scheduled last minute, I can get on a video call and feel good about myself. Or if somebody unexpectedly comes to your door or whatever it is, you don't feel like you've let yourself go. You don't feel like a slob on the couch. And it doesn't take a lot. It just takes like putting on a nice shirt and maybe some nice pants and just kind of elevating your lounge coat clothes up a few levels. I have a great popular blog post on my website about not wearing pajamas. And I've noticed that when you stop wearing pajamas, even if you're home just doing your own business work, it makes everything go a little bit faster and you feel a lot better about yourself. And I want you to feel more confident and happier. And the last little habit that I would like to suggest is that you can act like your alter ego. I don't know. So think about it. Is there a celebrity or someone you admire, whether real, like a real person in your life, like your sister or whoever, or maybe somebody in a book like Hermione Granger or something like that? Think about that person that you admire. And whenever you are going about your day and you're just not feeling motivated or you're stuck on a decision, think about what your alter ego would do. So what would Beyonce do in this situation? Or what would Oprah do in this situation? I don't know. When you tap into an alter ego, it gives you different solutions and different perspective than maybe getting stuck in your head and that you just can't get when you're looking at your problem yourself. And sometimes you can just force yourself to fake it till you make it by acting like someone else. Like, I'm going to act like Lady Gaga today, and I'm going to have a lot of fun, and I'm going to get stuff done too. And that's a great way to go about your day. Just tap into the feelings of an alter ego, somebody else. They don't have to be a real person, and imagine how they would solve your problems. That's a great way to create these new habits and to really step out of your comfort zone. Okay, open up your workbook. We got some more homework. In your workbook, you have a section about adding good habits. So I want you to write down 5 edits that you're going to make to add good habits to your life. So again, think about the things that you're missing. Think about how your ideal self would act. Go through your journaling when you're talking about your ideal self. And what are some little edits that you can incorporate to get closer to that ideal version of yourself? And then I want you to leave a comment below this video, either on Facebook or on YouTube, and tell me what new good habits you are going to make. Remember, leaving a comment enters you in the giveaway for this session. And this session, I am giving away a copy of my Startup in 60 program, which will take you from idea to fully functioning business in 60 days, while only doing 60 minutes or 60 seconds of work per day. You're going to love it. If you've ever thought about starting a business, or you have a struggling business, you are going to love Startup in 60. All right, before we head out, just a reminder that the Life Editor Weekend Retreat is the launch. It's the kickoff of my Life Editor Academy Mastermind Group. And applications are now open for Life Editor Academy. If you click the link in the description of this video, and I'll also put the link here on the screen, you can apply and join the Academy right now. So Life Editor Academy is a mastermind group for ambitious women who want to stop procrastinating, stop dragging their feet, and actually achieve those big goals that they've been thinking about. So we have the best of both worlds. You get private coaching with me, plus group coaching with your Academy sisters. We got accountability partners, we got a book club, and every single month we have a themed virtual retreat. So if you like Life Editor Weekend, you're going to love the retreats that we have in the Academy. But don't just take my word for it. I'm going to show you a video that has testimonials from women just like you and how they've experienced the Academy and the type of results that they've gotten. So hold on, let me pull that up right now.
I'm Sam. I'm from South Carolina, and I am a member of Sage's Life Editor Academy. The Academy is everything. It includes the retreats, the online support. We get to talk to Sage and all of the other Academy women as often as we want. We've all really connected well, and that's probably the best part of the whole thing. I joined the Academy, first of all, because I was just drawn to Sage's personality, and then it became about what I could do for myself. I figured investing in myself was a fantastic way to start a new period in my life, and this was the best way to do it. The very first thing we talked about in January, when we started the whole Life Editor Academy, was planning. And I have never been a great planner. Implementing little steps to get to a larger goal. These little mini habits that she talks about. Do whatever you can to get the biggest win. Even if that just means one tiny little thing each day, at least you're moving a step forward.
When you have complete strangers that become your besties, it's awesome. And we're all about supporting each other in our goals. We have like accountability partners each month, and it's just awesome because we're supporting each other and facilitating each other towards like being our better selves.
So I'm Heather Hardiman, and I provide cooking services for Sage at her retreats. I also provide yoga. The yoga that I help and I bring to the women is a combination of hatha yoga and physical therapy. It's functional yoga instruction. I like to think of myself as a nourishment coach, right? It's kind of the best way to put it because it's about your mind, your body, and your spirit. And I think sometimes food takes on this meaning. Sometimes it can be a substitute for emotions, right? And that's just kind of part of our culture. And so knowing that and knowing the importance that we place on food, I try to bring that infusion with everything I make. She's nourishing folks' minds, and she's helping them edit and simplify and make their lives more powerful, their businesses more structured, themselves better, right? So then I get to come in and I get to nurture the soul and the spirit and then the food. So I love that I have this opportunity to work with her.
I joined Life Editor Academy because I needed to understand me. We've been down in Orlando for 7 months. So before this, I resided in the Chicagoland area, and I needed to get a better understanding of me and to build a network of supportive women that would support me as I grew both professionally and personally. It started out as a business endeavor. Now it is shifting to more personal while I'm building the business. So it's kind of the beauty is with the program, you can go either way. So right now I'm more working personally and will shift professionally shortly. It's just such a blessing to be a part of this, and I'm thankful for that.
I can tell you that when I made the decision to join the Academy, it was a very hard decision. It required a lot of commitment, but in the end, I think it's the best thing I've done. It's the best thing I've done.
So what I love about Sage is that her confidence and her energy is so contagious that even though we only do Skype meetings most of the time, you can still feel it permeating off of the screen onto your like own outlook and perspective for the next 2 weeks or 3 weeks before we see each other again. I actually didn't meet her in person until Life Editor Academy. I needed really a marathon runner, and she's very good at going at the pace you need her to go at. She's very good at just saying, okay, what do you need? And then I say, I have no idea. And then we brainstorm about that for a minute. Everyone brags about getting their goals done very quickly with her, but I highly recommend if you need something that's a long-term goal setting, she does that so well.
I think she's funny, and I think she's warm and caring. I think that what you see is what you get with Sage.
She's definitely life-changing because she's making sure that not only are you able to do everything yourself and independently, she's not a crutch. That's the thing. People say that coaches are crutches, or that there are people that you have to go to for everything. What she's doing is she's giving you an independent version.
I respect her a lot. She's got a lot of passion around what she does. And that's one of the reasons that I'm drawn to her is the passion about what she does and the authentic nature of how she approaches these things. Everything she does comes from a place of affection and caring. If you are ready to make that commitment, you're ready to take your business to the next level, you're ready to get rid of things that aren't serving you for your highest and greatest good, if you are wanting that next rung in whatever that transformation is for you, then you need to hire her. And if you want to put your toe in the water, then subscribe to her clubhouse, watch her podcasts, take a little step in, do the little kiddie pool swim around, right? She's got all these wonderful tools and planners and these great ways to kind of, I don't know, temperature check, right? Get your temperature check, and when you're ready to dive in, she'll be there with floaties.
You know, she's got an energy that's contagious. No matter how much you may feel like, oh my gosh, I don't feel like dancing around, by the time you get done watching her, you're right there joining her with us. So she's got a compassionate heart. She's got an energy that's contagious, but more importantly, she wants you to succeed, but it's authentic and it's real, and you feel that from her, and not just some sales pitch, but she's real about it. One thing I've learned is, number one, tomorrow's not promised. Number two, you owe it to yourself. No matter what issues life has dealt you, no matter what situation you're going through, with the support of Sage and the other women in the Academy, you'd feel invincible. And there's nothing you can do, because you know beyond a shadow of a doubt that somebody's got your back. I have become very close friends with several of the women, and I have also picked up several business clients as a result of this Academy. If I had to pick one word in how working with Sage has helped me, it has transformed my life, because it's allowed me to see me for me and not the me that other people want to see.
All right, those have been some testimonials from women who have been a part of Life Editor Academy. And if you're interested in joining the Academy, please click the link in the description to apply for the Academy. Doors are open right now. And I have the link right here on the screen so you can apply. Right now, we have 5 ladies who have already joined. We are maxing out at 15, so we've got 10 more spots as of today. And if you enjoy this Life Editor Weekend Retreat, then I know you're going to enjoy the Academy, because we do a retreat every single month. And I would love to see you there, and I would love to help you realize your life editing goals. All right. We are at the end of session number 2, and we are going to start session number 3 at the top of this hour. So I will see you right there, Life Editors. Thanks for being here.